Good morning. My name is Joe Leah from MiaSole, and let me take a couple of minutes and just explain to you what we do and the value proposition that we have. So fundamentally, just to be clear from the beginning, we do PV. PV, ultimately an electron is the ultimate commodity. You don't care where it came from. You don't know if it's green or it's brown. You just care what is the size of your utility bill at the end of your monthly period. That's a reality. That's the space that we play in, and you can't argue about technical differentiation or any of those other things because in the end, no one cares. From a product standpoint, we compete head-to-head against the crystalline Chinese. We've heard, throughout the conference about crystalline Chinese module manufacturers. We can produce a module with the same efficiency as a crystalline Chinese module without the use of silicon. So from a simplistic standpoint, silicon represents 25 to 30% of their COGS. I use no silicon. I can drive the same performance. I should be able to set my ASP equal to their COGS and still drive a business with a 30% gross margin business. For a commodity business, that's a pretty compelling value proposition. In addition, we have lower CapEx, maybe 30% of the CapEx of a polycrystalline plant. For us, CapEx is 50 cents a watt. Smaller physical footprint, maybe 20% the physical footprint required per watt to produce the material. 100,000 square feet for our technology represents about 150 megawatts. And by definition, less material, less space, lower labor costs. So at a just high-level value proposition standpoint, material differentiation, technical differentiation in what we produce that allows a lower cost of goods sold, and lower CapEx, lower cost to expand your capacity. I don't need gigawatts to get to cost or to get to scale. A 150 megawatt factory should allow what I'm talking about from a cost standpoint. So this notion that you need gigawatts to be able to compete, I would argue, is not entirely true for what we're up to. Second piece is, how do we do it? We start with a meter-wide piece of steel or steel foil. It's 39 inches wide, miles in length. We feed it into a machine. We sequentially deposit all the materials required to make one of these films or one of these modules. Out comes the material. We turn it into cells, and then we turn cells into modules. So we have a cell portion of the manufacture, a module portion of the manufacturing. A cell ultimately looks like this. This is a MiaSole cell. This is about 1.5 watts. And no matter how you cut it, you can't do this with silicon. Silicon is not flexible. This enables me to turn this into a shingle, into a rolled roof, into building siding, into any material that you're interested in from a form factor standpoint. So I can get rid of clamps, I can get rid of racks, I can get rid of all of the associated hardware to put in a free field installation. Why do you care? If you think about it from a residential standpoint, if I take out racks and clamps, and take the labor that I would have put in a roof anyway, to put in 80 to 100 shingles, which is all it would take for an average family of 4 with this kind of a product, I reduce the payback time for that installation by a factor of 2. So instead of being a 15 or a 20-year payback, it becomes a 7-year payback. So this enables really the average consumer to think about a time frame that resonates with how long they're likely to be in that house. The second piece to think about is when you fly into LA and you look down at all those big flat white roofs, those are the green field for a building integrated product. And I drop that power from the roof into the building below, and it changes the economics because I'm not competing anymore with wholesale, which I think we can compete with, 10 cents a kilowatt hour, kind of grid parity numbers, but I'm competing with retail. So it shifts the price point that I have to compete. And the last piece I'll leave you with is it changes the dynamics from a grid standpoint. It truly becomes distributed, and I don't care about transmission. I don't care about permits in terms of access. I go right to an end user.